Hi, welcome back to Beware of Secrets, my second episode. So here I'm going to cover Azure AD managed identities. Uh, let's review this scenario where Azure keyword not used, and then you can see on the left side is a source is Azure Blob. Still, you can access the Azure Blob in a secure manner from Azure Logic App. So we call this SAMI BOS for the blob storage, and then Azure Logic App is LABOS, and then still use the managed identity to access the Azure blob storage. So let's get inside the demo and then we can take a look at it. Here I want to cover uh, the logic apps uh, accessing Azure Blob in a secure manner without using keyword. Uh, in this case, like I have like one workflow which was created here, LA Blob. Before that, I want to show one thing at the source and then Logic App, which is Logic App on the identity tab. This was system assigned, just turned on. If in case if it is not turned on, so that means your managed identity is not enabled for the Logic App. So Logic App is the target who is accessing the Azure Blob. So if you go back to the Azure Blob and then access Azure Blob and then you give the access control and then enable here, if you notice this like LABOS is the same name as uh, the Logic App uh, dash BOS is the name, and so it is already added as a storage blob data reader. So what we have in the Azure Blob is a blob storage, which is basically CSV or any other files, which is a blob. So that's what we are going to access it through the Logic App. So now here, back to back here, we have the system assigned uh, identity here, which is a object principal, which was given access to the access control or with the for this permission. And so then if you go back to the which is already created in the workflows, so I'm going to review here and show you quickly which you can create. And then this is the one, and I'm going to show you in the designer what was created here. So this was still not used any firewall for the Azure Blob, but I'm going to show you this like how it is used. So it is like whenever there is a blob is added or modified to the properties, and it's going to use the storage container, and then and also like it uses behind the scene, it also uses the uh, connected connection. It's called API connection. That API connection is blob connection. And then if you change, you may have like one connection here already. So that is something behind the scene. It connects to the blob API. So like once you connect it, and then you can specify either the endpoint with a full qualified name, or you can give the storage account name, and then you can go and see here storage. And then when you click on the storage, and you can see this is a storage you need to assign. And then so it's basically every 15 seconds it can trigger to see if there is anything, either blob the trigger only triggers only whenever there is a blob is added or modified. So we know what it is, then we can update them. Whenever you update the same blob, it also triggers to see that like this happens every 15 seconds to see if there is any new blob has been added or updated, and that's going to trigger. So now this something like we don't need to wait every 15 seconds to do this, or maybe we can increase this a monthly basis or weekly basis or a daily basis, whichever way, whatever frequency you wanted. So like say like if I set to like a daily basis only once in a daily basis, so then I'll say update it, and then if you go here next. So this one is basically talking about you need to specify the blob. So what blob you want to store. So right now this is the one. It's looking for this, and then this is connecting to the storage account name. You need to specify what is the uh, connection you wanted to connect. So this is basically a storage account name. We can call it SAPOS, and then also it can connect to see if there is a storage, and then you can also specify what blob you wanted to. So there is already existing blob here, you can specify that, and then so you can use the in for the content type, and then we can save this. Once we save this, you can open. And also there's one more thing I just wanted to show here. Once we have like a connections, this is what I was talking about. There is a one connection called Azure Blob, and this is the one specified when you connect it. So this is behind the scene, it connects to that. That's how it can connect through the managed identity, through the API connection. It can get connects to that blob, so in a secure manner. And now if you go back and then try to save and then go back to the overview, and then instead of waiting for a daily basis, you could also trigger this manually. And I want to trigger this by running this, and you can see that okay, it will not trigger anything yet. The reason being we have to make sure that we update into the blob the file. So you can go back to the containers, go back to the storage, and I have a file. What I will do, I'm going to trigger the same file to ensure that so this is the same file. I'm going to overwrite the same file, say overwrite. So now it will upload, and then now you try to trigger again, and then you will definitely see a difference now. You see this one. Now once you click on here, so it takes some time to trigger and then run it. So basically now if you can look at here, this is a get blob content, and then this is what the output. It reads the same blob which is from the same storage account, and then you can see this output, and this is the output file. So if you click on this, then you will see this is the entire blob for the CSV file. That's how you can uh, access through using the managed identity. Uh, if you want to see how it got done, uh, so the how did you add this? This is basically you give access to the Azure Blob, and then you can see that like you need to see this role assignment. In the role assignment, you get to see the this is for the resource group. I have to look for the storage, access control, and then role assignments, and then you can see this is what given access to this. So we reviewed this already, so I just wanted to show one more time. So this concludes the episode number 2. Uh, Thank you for uh, attending this, and then we'll continue on the episode 3 pretty soon.